You have a message. You want to share that message. You want it to be social, to go viral, and spread across the planet. But how do you get started? Tune into Amplify, featuring host Ken Rochon. This show is here to help you take that message and channel it through the most effective marketing techniques to not only be successful, but have a positive impact on the world. Tune in live
Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Influencers Channel.
and get amplified.
Welcome to Amplify. This is Ken Rochon on the Influencer Channel on Voice America. And Voice America has a lot of amazing hosts, and we are in communication to invite them and include them in the Dose of Hope series. And if you know any podcasters that are doing wonderful, positive work, it is very, very important that you introduce them to this project because, one, it is free promotion. Two, it is honoring a positive message, in other words, amplifying goodness. And most important, three, they will have more followers, more support, and more impact in the world. And that's what we want for them. So, Andrea, how are you?
I'm wonderful. And so let me share what the impact in the world is. You know, Ken and I have been doing a lot of research and studies around what's been happening. Before, we always believed that people needed more positivity. But most recently, the statistics show that 70% of entrepreneurs are stressed out about what's going on with their businesses and their marketing and their ability to have an income as an entrepreneur. And of those numbers, 1 in 3.
That's not the research I got. I had the research that no one was affected at all and that everyone was really happy.
Yeah. So Ken, because he is the co-founder of the Keep Smiling movement, has been living in a world of positivity shrouded. And so as you guys know that, you know, with what's been going on with COVID.
So what does that mean?
By the way, the 70% numbers, Ken, is based on 2018. That's what's really sad. This was prior to COVID. So it is only worse.
Can I actually just say it was so depressing they wouldn't report it for 2020? It was that bad.
It could be.
The people that were researching it got so depressed, they actually are in denial with how bad it got.
Oh, I think so. 50% of entrepreneurs' businesses were failing prior to COVID. So imagine what the numbers are now. I still been looking. I look on a regular basis for what the new stats are. And again, I think 1 in 3 entrepreneurs are diagnosed with clinical depression. So things are bad in the world. Now, think of that in the scope with everyone. If we look at national statistics, over 800,000 people in 2018 took their life. That's 1 every 40 seconds. And for every person that their life is now gone, 20 other people attempted. So when you guys hear these statistics, you understand why Ken and I are up to doing big things in the world. We have people's lives to save. We have people to stand and in support of them to let them know that they can overcome and they can stand in resilience and they can stand in positivity. And these doses of hope are full of this 800 pages, by the way. There you go. 800 pages of positivity to inspire you.
And we have some good news. This is very small. In the new editions, it's a very, very big. It's a nice, like $50 size, I would say, maybe even $1 size. Yeah, it's probably closer to that size on the side cover. That way, when you're reaching on the shelf, you know you're reaching for some positivity. You know, this is a very glum way to start a show with these statistics. So what is it that's going to be the good news?
Well, the good news is we're doing something about it. So Ken, will you reveal to them your plan of action for Keep Smiling? Are you open to sharing that, or is it still a secret? And we'll just do a trailer tease and then reveal it as the weeks come forward.
Well, I have so many plans, so I guess the secret is on me. Like, I don't know which secret you're talking about. Nothing like being put on the stage with too many things in your mind. I wish I'd only thought of one thing that would say she's talking about the
Well, when you work with someone brilliant, they have a lot of ideas in their head. And again, you guys know that as Andrea Adams-Miller, I work with high-level geniuses and make their dreams come true, bigger than they ever dared to desire. So Ken's got some pretty big dreams, and we are going to make them come true because it's not just about us or what we want to do. It's what people deserve in the world.
Well, just so that I say something, I will say one idea that I have. So this is going to be 12 parts, and we are up to 3 right now. So we need a lot more authors. We are looking for people that are truly inspiring the world with leadership, cause and community, and amplifying goodness in their own way. We'd like to support them, collaborate with them. But we had an idea given to us by a wonderful gentleman, Mike Lewis, who owns his own publishing company, and he came up with the idea of mini doses. So each author in here, which there are about 40, would get their own name on the front cover and their own little mini dose so they could share that in a more economical way. Because lugging this thing around, I haven't even thought about what it's going to be like to have this in a suitcase with, I don't know, 10 other ones, I guess.
I have been doing weights with them, and I'm starting to, my muscles are getting so big because I'm using these as an exercise program.
Well, there are a couple people getting eviction notices at their office place, and they are ordering these by the truckload. You have to actually pick them up and carry them out of the way to do the eviction. So this has been saving a lot of businesses too.
Well, there you go. If you want to make sure that you succeed and you're on the way to positivity and greatness, then get on the dose of hope. The one thing that's really amazing about this is a smile is contagious, and we can make it really amazing for all of us.
So everything we've just shared is a bit fluffy and positive, and even though that is going to be relevant and you enjoying your life more, there is actually a real there's an analytical cognitive side to this that if you listen to the logic, you will appreciate that this is not just fluff. This is actually flow into the bank account. So here you go. Who would you rather buy a service or product from? Someone that inspires you or someone that doesn't? Okay, there's one. Number 2, after they inspire you, you say, well, what if they are just scamming me? Or what if they're not really, truly inspirational? Well, you Google them, and guess what you just did? You bought into the fact that they were inspiring enough to Google, and you get good news. They have 3,000 5-star reviews or an inordinate amount of reviews that make you feel confident that your money is well spent because they care about value and ROI, return on investment. So you would be all too happy and also all too smart to invest in someone who's a Dose of Hope author because they care about happiness, they care about integrity, and they most importantly care about making a difference. And that is the beginning of the show. All right.
Well, and the show, because we care about people's mental and dental health, because we are a 501(c) for the Keep Smiling movement, we, Ken and I have been doing a lot of research with different companies that provide different products to help with the neuroplasticity, to help with mental mindset, your overall health, your homeostasis, and so forth. And so in the upcoming weeks, we'll be having some different people on that are going to be sharing different research about different products and so forth. Some of them will mention by name. Some of them will just talk about them in general, about the effects of what they do, based on the limitations on some companies on what we can share and not share, depending on if someone's a distributor or whether it's the actual company. But we want to make sure that you have options for your health. And so we will make sure that anything that we share, that a portion of that will go to the Keep Smiling movement if those are products and services that you find as a resource for your health and is something that you desire. So that kind of goes along with what we're doing today with our guest, Mimi Madden. Mimi Madden, Ken met her, you met her through Be Connected, right? One of our sponsors?
Well, it's just the kind of place you can meet someone on Be Connected. So Be Connected is I guess a smaller, high quality version of a hybrid of Facebook, LinkedIn, and probably some other wonderful alignment. That's a good one. So all these social sites are a little overwhelming in that they just have an inordinate amount of people and inordinate amount of messages and spamming. So this is a site that has high quality leaders, and you would do business with any one of them because they paid to be there to play at an integral level that is about service and value.
So Be Connected, that's BEEKONNECTED. No, wait, did I spell it right? Be Connected. Be Connected.
Well, it's B as in B-E-E.
Yes, thank you, Ken.
And then connect, instead of connect with a C, it's a K-O. That's all.
Well, I hope that you can laugh at my...
Hey, by the way, we'll put a link because you should join. And you should meet Mimi.
You should join us. And we, the Keep Smiling movement, is a partner of that. So that's beconnected.com/keep smiling. And then you can just reach out to us or click on the link, and we'll be happy to share and get you connected with other people. And along, we want to thank our other sponsors. And we have another B, bees.social is a crypto technology educational platform, making sure that you know how to live your financial literacy. So that's bees.social. We also want to thank the Umbrella Syndicate, the Red Carpet Connection, Big Events USA, Perfect Publishing, and Voice America Influencers Channel. And I will now ask Mimi to come on so that I'm going to ask her to unmute and get her on camera while I share a little bit about her, because while we're going to be talking about in general about neuroplasticity and the brain and how things all work for health and so forth, she actually has a really cool other background of being a very artistic person. She's the development director for American Mural Project. She's worked in the nonprofit sector for over 20 years and, with fundraising, grant writing, promotion, and program development. She's motivated, creative, and resourceful. She's skilled in managing teams and inspires them through visions to achieve goals for institutional advancement. She had a tenure at Hill-Stead Museum in Farmington, Connecticut. She was a grants manager. She expanded the scope of funding for operations and capital projects over 8 years. And she was also the director of the Sunken Garden Poetry Festival. She reinvigorated their program, created and developed humanities-based programs and educational opportunities for festival audiences, and oversaw their publications, and really increased so many cool things. So I've been very excited about her work as an artist, because Ken and I are both artists. Ken, as you know, is a celebrity event photographer. And after we did his first gallery show, which I surprised him with creating 2 years ago, he came up with this great idea to showcase his artwork in different books. And now other artists are following suit, and Ken is creating opportunities for them to publish their works, whether they're a sculptor, a photographer, or so what, a chef, and getting their art out in the world. So it's a great segue for Mimi and her beautiful artistic talent as well.
So Mimi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you both.
You know, when you first came on, so when you back up, the light is so bright, it looks like
ethereal.
You're coming in from heaven can wait.
It's my aura, Ken. Don't you know I come with an aura?
I do know you do. So it was as if the sequel of Heaven Can Wait was being aired right in front of us. And I guess that the theme because the old theme was about a football player. You recall that movie by any chance?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, so the football player passed before he was supposed to. An angel saved him, and he was going to live anyway. So he had to get him another body. And so what I was thinking is you're doing the Olympics coming up soon, and that this is kind of thematic on a different version of that. That's beautiful.
Yes. You know, Andrea, Ken and I started joking before we even met, because we connected in text through Be Connected, as you mentioned, and started punning on his name. And before I even talked to him, I thought, this is somebody I am totally going to enjoy. And both of you have been just really inspirational in terms of the big picture, the big visions that you guys have and what you're doing. So I am really, really pleased to be part of this today. So thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. And I guess you're getting in better shape with lifting your book.
Yes. Need any exercise you can get right now, right?
So we have a lot to cover, and you had a colleague that was going to be joining us, and I guess that's going to happen after he does his dose of hope. So that's kind of God's way of saying, don't go on Amplified until you have your dose of hope story. So I like this. I've been talking to Andrea about, I think we get out of order. We invite people to the book, and then we don't really bring them back on again, because we have kind of a rule of, hey, there's so many people in the world. We want to highlight those people one a week. So I think the new protocol will be get your inspirational story in so we can all do some weightlifting.
Yeah. And, you know, Ken, you asking me to do that, it's not something I was looking to do. Many people are doing what they're doing partly by writing their story and publishing. And it's just not something I was looking for. But I really appreciated it because it helped me articulate some of the themes in my life that have ended me up in two very different things, but very, very connected. So so I love that you asked me and kind of pushed me. Yeah, so it was a good thing, well, meant to be.
Can we talk about that for another minute or two?
Sure.
So the reason I did push you, and I know I did, was that I had a feeling that anyone that did Dose of Hope would be a bigger part of my future, and that I could be a bigger part of theirs, in that I can always share your story easier when you have given me a story to share. And if you haven't, I can just say, oh, she's just a wonderful person, or be connected. And you sometimes fall flatter. And also you learn more about the person when they share their story. So that was a big part. And then I didn't know how you could recommend it to all your art creatives and inspirational leaders you knew if you didn't say, I did it. It was really a good experience.
Right.
And I wanted to actually say one last thing, and then the floor is yours, of course, with this. But a lot of people are busy, and a lot of people think that this project is either going to cost them, which it does. It costs them 2 hours of their life, and that it's not worth the time, because anything is more important, like eating the sandwich. And it's crazy, but we are actually going to try and attempt and declare and commit to having 10 million people download this, and not by our efforts, but by the collective efforts of 500 authors. And I think the world would not just be inspired, because that's not enough. I think they would have the hope to do bigger things that would cause those statistics to shift in some way, shape, or form. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe in it, first and foremost, but I live near the most dangerous city in the United States. Baltimore is #1 homicide capital, and it is number 24 in the world. We're the only U.S. city in the world that is in the top 25 rank. Detroit, Chicago, the other contenders, they didn't make it in the top 25, but Baltimore did. We are in the top 25 most dangerous cities in the world. So I believe with all my heart that smiles, hope, and acceptance through smiles, and love through smiles, everything that does come from smiles, would shift how people behave. And that behavior would cause an internal behavior shift as well as a community behavior shift. So
I wanted to jump in, Ken, and remind people that Ken, with these, I know they look in reverse because of the way they're showing up on the screen.
Well, upside down.
So yeah, they are. Well,
there you go.
There you go. So we've got to keep smiling. I'm going to come into some comedy today, I guess. But the word keep smiling. The smile is a universal expression of love and acceptance that crosses all cultural boundaries. And so because we have these cards in 30 different languages and intend to increase that over time, and to be able to spread these messages and have Dose of Hope be in other languages as well, we want to make sure that people come together as a whole to unite towards having positivity and the mindset to be resilient.
All right, Mimi, this is for you, what I'm about to do. And then we're going to get right to business, because we have a full show with a lot of your ideas and a lot of things we need to download and tell the world about. And thank you very much for the invitation to be a part of the opportunity you're going to be sharing. But here you go. You ready, Mimi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mimi, so let's start off with who you are. So I know people will be able to read this in the Dose of Hope because you shared your journey, but I would like you to give a synopsis of where you're born and what your childhood was like, and what your childhood was like that caused you to be who you are today.
Sure. And I'll say in preface that I think one of the strongest threads in my life overall has been looking for, coming across, and loving principles, approaches, innovations that are universally true and that bring positive change. And I think when you become a student to look for that, and you really can move from being a reactive person to being a proactive person. And when you are intentional about it, it's amazing how much there is out there. There is a great industry that generates a lot of money in producing the news that we have, and I'm grateful to find out what the news is, but you all know what I mean. But the negativity pours into us. So you have to be intentional. But when you do, you realize how much is there. my way of thinking, how much God is in the world and in nature and in people. And so then it does start coming to you. So I look at, our connection as one of those connections, and you guys are all about connecting people who are doing good things. I've often marveled at how one person believing in another person is absolutely transformative. That behind, I watched the Super Bowl last night, so I won't go into that, but behind every successful athlete is somebody who believed in them. And so, you think about your childhood, and mine was not extraordinary at all. And I didn't actually, I had, parents who were, who they were, and they were not like me. They were not idealist and imaginative and all of that. They weren't artistic. They were much more kind of concrete and practical. But there were enough people in my life who encouraged some of what I was doing, or as I got older, kind of opened doors for me to jump in way over my head to do things. So because they saw something in me, I'm very grateful for that. So I grew up, I'm in Connecticut. I grew up right near Hartford and Bloomfield, and, kind of a suburban growing up, small town, middle class, and just gradually was very drawn to the arts, especially at first music and literature. I studied literature in college, ended up much later as Andrea read that long. I haven't heard that professional.
Hey, Mimi.
Yes, sorry.
I wanted to ask you what drew you to it. What was the inspiring?
What drew me to the arts? A love of beauty, I guess, is one of the, and I think in literature, it was a profound way to understand people. That's why I always felt like in studying, not even studying literature, but reading good books and spending time in that realm, I was learning about people. And that's been probably my favorite focus in life, is to understand people.
Well, first of all, so true about the comment that just one person believing in you can change who you become, because you're not alone anymore. So that is beautifully stated. And I wanted to attempt to translate something you said earlier that sounded potentially a little vague. So being careful about what news or what you are listening to and reading to accept as truth. And I just want to remind our audience that we are constantly on this conversation in one way, shape, or form, which is we all have meanings that we have created based on what we've been programmed. And all those programs could be true or not. And we just have to be open to the fact that they may need to shift to have a better truth.
Thank you. And that we have the ability to shape a lot of what happens in our lives. I mean, that whole thing of being proactive instead of reactive is just a big piece of it all, I think. And that's what you guys are all about doing as well. So
we're a process too. We are constantly working to improve. And you know what? You're absolutely right. If you're reactive, you are probably not playing the biggest game of empowerment. And if you're proactive, you are probably in an uncomfortable zone, but you're going to make some good strides.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, you asked about what drew me to the arts, and, the bottom line, it really matters how we experience our lives every day. And I think as we get older, there's, a lot of push to kind of lose your expectation for joy and happiness, and just get realistic. This is the way the world is. But the more you look for it, I think the more you can find it. And definitely the arts have brought me a lot of joy. And I've ended up helping produce arts series, a performing arts series in a church originally, with some wonderful theater and music and arts. And then I helped direct the Sunken Garden Poetry Festival that Andrea mentioned. And, it was such a privilege to be connecting audiences with some of the top poets in ways that helped everybody there each evening outside in this beautiful historic garden to sense the importance of how we live our lives, and to wake up to people and the beauty in the world. So so that's been very motivating to me. And right now I will just mention that the nonprofit that I'm working with currently part-time is another wonderful inspirational project. And it is the largest indoor collaborative mural in the world, called the American Mural Project in Winsted, Connecticut. Wonderful artist who began that to wake people up to the wonder of work, all the different kinds of work and workers in the world. So again, it's a theme I can get behind, and I've loved being part of that.
Ken, I wanted to interject. Mimi's doing something else that she's been getting behind. So, you know, when we were talking about your artistic quality, there's something about your artistic quality that led you to now be thinking about the mental mindset of artists and entrepreneurs and how they think.
Yes.
And when we've been talking about all the research that you've been doing, you have been lighting up on fire, almost bigger than your art stuff. So the second half of the show, you'll be sharing some of that with us. So it'll be quite exciting. And I know that that's one of the reasons that you and Ken were talking at the very beginning about how you know all this great knowledge.
Yes, I look forward to that. Yes, I'd love to share about that.
We're getting close to break, Mimi, so I did want to make sure you were able to expand for a second about that mural, because to just have you state that, it's almost as you're talking to us that know what it's about. Can you share how mammoth this project is, please?
Yes, the largest indoor collaborative mural in the world, 120 feet long, 5 stories high, massive paintings of real people, all kinds of work that make this country great. And then Ellen Griesedick has worked with thousands, over 15,000 kids around the country in projects that will be incorporated into it. So it is a very inspirational and a very timely project, really.
So a great, I guess, comment would be that there's nothing wrong with enjoying your work, because you'll actually make a difference in the world with it. And you're actually creating what God wants you to be productive and to make a positive difference. So,
and you do your work better when you're enjoying it.
Oh, heck yes. Heck yeah. And you never know you're working.
Right. You don't work a day if you love what you do, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to be going to break. Andrea, if you'd be so kind as to include our sponsor of the day too.
Yes. So we want to thank our featured sponsor, that's bees.social, crypto technology education to help people become financially literate in the world of blockchain technology. We want to also thank Be Connected, as far as it's keepsmiling.beconnected.com, and that's an extra E and B, and the K is the C is a K, and Be Connected. And we also are really excited about always being partners with Voice America Influencers channel, and the Umbrella Syndicate, Perfect Publishing, Big Events USA, and the Red Carpet Connection. And we'll be back with you right after these messages.
So Mimi, welcome back to the second segment. This is the bigger second segment, because this is more about all the things you're doing right now that could make a difference in people's lives, from a longevity, vitality, and also abundance.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Are you scared?
No, I love it.
All right. So we talked about your art. We talked about your background to some degree. And anyone that would like to read Mimi's story, I assure you it is a well-spent 10 minutes, and you'll fall in love with her and you'll want to connect with her. So Mimi, let's talk mainly about what you're doing this year, and what caused this year to be a pivotal year for you to take all that you've learned in this wellness and bring it to the forefront.
Yeah, well, it actually has been a longer journey than that. This year has been a special journey of connecting more widely, which I've loved. But about 7 years ago, a couple things were happening simultaneously. One was, after being a fundraiser, raising millions of dollars, and living on a nonprofit salary, a couple things were slowly beginning to dawn on in my head. And that was that so many things are funded that are wonderful in the nonprofit world by philanthropists who have figured out how to make money, create money. And I didn't really quite see a way for myself to do that. And at the same time, I was in Florida to see a renowned therapist for my back. I had an issue back then. And he introduced me to a breakthrough that was the beginning of this wonderful journey. And so, being an early adopter and somebody who loves, as I was saying, things that are universally true, this really stood out to me. Background in health and wellness since I was young. my mother was alternative, and I love the idea of, how can we support our health naturally? But there's such a glut on the market, so many vague claims. And what really caught my attention about this is a very specific, proven, measurable result, a way to actually resolve the core cause of aging and most diseases. And that sounds like a big claim, but the science was there. The pedigree of the scientists developing this was remarkable. And that was the beginning of my journey to understand this new field.
And just so people can understand, with it being a little more detailed, what is it that causes the aging and the issue of not having this technology or this?
Yes, sure. Yes. All right. So very, very simply, when we create energy, we also produce bad exhausts like a car engine, free radicals that damage our cells. We also get a ton of it from pollution and chemicals, the environment. And when we're young, our body has a really powerful, beautiful exhaust system, in essence, which is our own very powerful antioxidants, which neutralize, they keep our cells very healthy by and large. But the problem is the system stops working as we get older. More and more scientists are looking at health as a systems problem. So this system in every cell, all 35 trillion cells, slows down. All of those cells become more and more damaged. And that's called oxidative stress. It is the biggest health problem we all have that we don't know about. And scientists have been studying it for years. There's some hundreds of thousands of studies, but there was really nothing to do except supplement and try to fix the symptoms. So this approach is a radical departure from supplementing, and it's all about reactivating the original system. And if you compare even the most cutting edge scientific advancements that we've been able to come up with, such as prosthetics or insulin, if you could get back your original hand, if you could have your pancreas working again, millions of times more effective the way our body is, because our body is an amazing machine. So this original product started a whole new field of activation. The general field is called NRF2 activation. And what was proven, well, I can't say the whole thing. Don't ask me. It's a very long scientific name. I'm not a scientist.
And by the way, I want to interject. So to our lovely audience that cares about changing the world and being a better leader, anything that you're hearing or seeing that we could not view because of a time element, we are going to be providing a video and some charts, correct, from your presentation, Mimi?
Sure. Yes, we can get you the information. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
I can answer that real quick for the nuclear factor and thyroid 2 related factor 2 is NRF2. So that is the fancy poo-poo word. Mm-hmm.
And Andrea is one of our, I won't get off on that now, but in a minute I will say something about loving to learn about your background in neurology, because probably one of my favorite areas of impact for this ability to activate our bodies is in the neurological arena, because it has so much to do with how we experience life, our brains. But rather than get into the details about that original product, I'm a big picture person. I'm going to just back out for a minute and explain that that original natural product was unusual in that it was a very peer-reviewed process, probability value of 1 in 10,000. Based on that, there have now been over 30 peer-reviewed studies on that product, independent places like the American Heart Association, National Institute of Aging, very unusual in the natural product realm. But in addition, seeing what was now possible in terms of that system, scientists all over the world have begun researching and developing chemicals, drugs that activate the system as well. They do it somewhat differently. It's the same premise, same principle, because it's a powerful ability. And so there are now, since dramatic growth in that science, now there's over 17,000 published studies. What those scientists and universities are saying about this ability to activate the system is quite dramatic. They're saying that it may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. They're calling NRF2 the guardian of health span, gatekeeper of species longevity. It goes on and on. It activates genes, it activates survival genes. So even though I'm an idealist and, that's been the focus of my life, I love facts. I love statistics. I like to base things on that. And the fact that this is not only being looked at as, we're pouring millions and millions of dollars into this because of its importance, but the fact that the original product is so far the most effective activator of this realm it's very important to me. And of course, there's no side effects. So whether somebody's looking at it through the drug approach or you're a natural approach person like me, bottom line is really, really good news because of what science is able to do now in terms of getting our bodies to work in a way they just didn't as we age.
Well, first of all, thank you for introducing this to me. I guess my product is coming today, if I recall. And, I don't know if I'd gotten it Friday, if it would actually have been something I could report on. So I wanted to actually ask you, when someone does get the product, depending on which one they get, and you can actually speak to all three, because you can combine the products and get a more synergistic.
Yes, exactly, Ken.
So yeah, speak to those two topics. One is what it was like for you when you first started in the first 24 hours to 1 week to 2 weeks, and then also how they play together.
Sure. So, excuse me, what Ken is referring to playing together is that based on the original NRF2 activator, scientists have now come up with activators that are, again, a synergistic combination of natural ingredients for two other really important systems in our body. So the second one, the NRF1 pathway, is for mitochondrial production and health. And mitochondrial health is a massive area of cellular health, I guess I'll just say. And then the third one is the NAD pathway. And NAD is not something the average person knows about. I did not. There are departments devoted at MIT and Harvard, devoted on ways that we can increase NAD and the related sirtuin activities. I'll sum it up really simply to say that it is about protection at the level of the DNA and has an impact on vascularity and overall cell health and longevity. It's really, their focus is on longevity. So again, each of these impacts different systems, but those systems are intertwined and interconnected in the cells and the way our bodies are created and designed. So that what they have discovered is that as you take these together, they actually increase the already higher levels of activation of the genes. And and that's what I love. You can see the science specifically. In terms of impact, I'll just speak to that first original NRF2 product. That's what there was for a long time. And so bottom line, again, it does what it does for everybody, which it will lower your oxidative stress by about 40% within 30 days. And that is a remarkable statement to be able to make.
So those people we were referring to earlier that are entrepreneurs that are in angst and have obviously that culprit playing with them, how does that actually improve their ability to, recover, have vitality?
Yes. Yeah, it's a good question. So I'll tell you, for myself, being a fairly healthy person, I'm 64, so 56, whatever it was when I learned about this. I'm not doing my math right, but anyway, and what I noticed was some brain fog lifting. I noticed that hot flashes went away, which was wonderful, and profound sleep, which is pretty much true across the board for everybody. For some reason, this is all tied into how we sleep, and more energy. The clarity of thinking was very welcome. And then for me, increased ability to overcome respiratory issues, which have been a real weakness in my life. And again, there's no claim of curing or treating any disease, but I had been having annual bouts of skin cancer, including melanoma. And for 7 years, I've had nothing. So, that's my own personal story. But what I have seen widely is that people who are already sort of into some of the challenges or actual diseases, the body is truly profound. And it can take, most people feel something within the first month. I have friends and acquaintances who it can take several months for the symptoms to begin to really change. But it is beautiful because we are all affected differently because of our genetics. So wherever the weakness is, that's where your changes are going to show up for you as the healing gets going. So
you're basically saying when I start taking this product, I might actually start making more sense on this show.
well, Ken, you always have made sense to me, but the neurology is a very powerful area. And for example, one of these, these are independent studies on the drug development, but it talks about the ability of NRF2 to protect against many age-related diseases, including cancer and neurodegeneration. And interestingly, the first drugs to market have been for neurological diseases. And
what are some of them? What are some of them?
Multiple sclerosis. An NRF2 drug is the top drug for MS in the country, and also they're repurposing that for Parkinson's. There also is a Japanese drug out for ALS, so these. So
my mom had been taking this, she would have potentially not had a dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you don't know. There's no guarantees, but there is a lot of that science is focused on Alzheimer's and dementia.
And let me jump in right there. So what I've learned from the studies is it's not that it prevents it, but it may slow down the occurrence of it continuing, and it may prevent the turn-on factor that starts it or delay it. So that's what, and not specifically this particular company or this particular product, but in general, the different products that people are looking at as far as that gene, that's what that's suppressing.
Yes, in essence, oxidative stress as it grows causes our cells to not function as well, and they become vulnerable. So however you're genetically wired, wherever your vulnerable areas are, you're more likely to get in trouble with higher oxidative stress. And you know what? I like to mention too, being somebody devoted for my whole life to eating well and exercising and all of that, I like to mention that even if you're doing everything perfect for your health, everybody has high levels of oxidative stress as you age, and everybody has certain genetic disorders. So you can do a lot with nutrition. I'm a firm believer in that, and I do still approach my life that way. But this raises the foundation of cellular health in a way just never before possible. One other area, Ken, I just want to mention in neurology is that kids with developmental disabilities are known to have unusual high levels of oxidative stress, which kids don't usually have. And that is probably why there's a profound impact when you lower oxidative stress. There's a few other helpful products that kick in for the brain, but those are some of my favorite stories personally, in terms of change to the family and to the child, able to learn and live independently even. And then also having friends with severe neurological impact for long-term Lyme disease, multiple sclerosis, and other things that activating. I have seen remarkable changes. And it's really, again, it goes back to our first conversation. It's about connecting people to things that create much more happiness in life. And our health is such an important part of our lives.
Yeah, I was actually going to speak to that a little bit. It's like a reverse or a weird analogous beautiful life, or it's a wonderful life. And that if you are taking a product that makes you more vital, more energetic, you don't know what your life would have been the other way, but you could have actually not enjoyed it, and it could have been shortened. And if you're not enjoying life, it is actually a death sentence, a long-term one. So there's a lot to be said for feeling great because you are enjoying life.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
I will mention one also that because of the overlap of this kind of Western Eastern medicine, there are over 1,000 medical doctors, professionals who are now embracing even the natural approach into their practices because of what they're seeing across the board with their patients. One friend of mine, a very well-known family practice doctor from Florida, 7, 8 years, he saw his own kind of many clinical results. He said after the first year, he saw 100% of people improved in various ways. I mean, you just don't see that. He was tired of being a Western medicine doctor who had grown older with his patients, and all he could do at that point was really prescribe medications. And for him to be able to see people get off or lower and regain health, it changed his life too as a medical professional.
And I just wanted to add the disclaimer that Mimi works with the company as an independent distributor, and because we don't have permission from that company to be advocating or talking about specifically about them without their prior knowledge and their input, so we're just talking about the product in general so that you guys can learn more about it. And because Ken and I are looking at and have been taking different products from different companies, because there's multiple things that you can do for your life to increase your health and wellness, so we'll be sharing those in the coming weeks. And one in particular was Mimi's that both Ken and I were very excited about consuming ourselves. So we'll be able to show you some personal testimonials as we're taking them. And the one product I did receive a couple days ago, and actually I got a lot done this weekend. And so we'll contribute it to some motivation from Ken, coaching me about some things about playing on a team, and some extra boosts from the products that I've been taking this weekend that Mimi provided to me, as Ken and I are also going to be distributors of this product so that we can provide an opportunity of resources for people to stay resilient and to stay in their health, and as an income means to help support the Keep Smiling movement. So that's why we've been a little vague exactly with what product it is, that you can certainly reach out to us. We'll share more information about it, because we're not about selling a product to people. We're more about providing opportunities so that people can stand up and be advocates for their own health and make their decisions that are wise and educational.
And we will, in the show notes, make sure that that is in number 6 font so that everyone can see that disclaimer later and read it and memorize it. All right. Guess what, Mimi? We're up for a rapid fire. Are you?
I don't know.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
It's the questions I told you about, Mimi. So you got it. You got it.
Let me know. All right. If I don't know, I'll make something up, Ken. I'll try to be
That's fair. I think you'll know most of them. I think you know every one of them, actually, because they're actually repeats of the one in the chapter you wrote.
Oh,
how about that?
Yeah.
So I'll start off with a wacky question. Never asked this one, I don't think, because there's so much to talk about, and you told me this was a 2-hour show. So what question did I not ask quickly with a quick answer with regard to the topic?
Regard to the topic.
Is there any question?
Yes. Is there any way to use the product with animals? And yes, there is. It's one of my favorite areas. So mammals, yeah, guess what? Amazing, amazing activation results for dogs and horses, cats. I work with a veterinarian. Just
short
fabulous.
Answer. Perfect.
All right, there you go. Sorry.
And I'm going to do, and now I'm going to go to my
real. You said it
real.
was 2 hours, Ken.
Well, I told you
Sorry,
that we're
kidding.
Condensing. So all the questions are quick, and so are the answers. So the first question I am going to ask, that's officially a first question, is since you like the arts, and it did say literature, what was the literature book that you did recommend to the youth for them to be inspired about the arts?
About the arts.
Yeah. So what literature did you read when you were
younger?
Well,
I love, my favorite book in high school was War and Peace, and that's kind of a hefty one. I don't know if I'd recommend it to too many kids, but anyway.
You're always trying to compete with this sucker. Right.
That's what I was thinking.
Andrea?
I did read that as a teenager myself, oddly enough. All right. I want to know what song jazzes you up. What gets you motivated and moving?
Oh, I'm a huge lover of music. I sing. I like all sorts of music. All right, I'll just say one recently. How Can I Keep From Singing? Probably nobody knows it, but it's a beautiful old piece.
You don't have to worry about that. We put links. We're happy to put links up. What movie inspires you?
Well, my original one was Sound of Music. Of course, I loved that.
What'd you watch recently?
What did I watch recently that was inspirational? Oh God, I hate these kind of questions.
Okay, then you can say pass. That's fine.
Pass.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. When you were a little girl, what did you want to grow up and be?
A veterinarian. Or a jockey. Those are my two.
Okay.
All right.
You love the arts, so you cannot say you don't know this answer. Who would you want to meet? You can name two if you wish.
Jose Limon, because I studied his dance approach, modern dance. So I would leave it at that.
Good. Okay.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So of all the different things that you can do with art in the world, what is it that you want to create? Like a sculpture, a painting, or whatever? What area?
I still love dancing, and so I'd like to do a little more choreography with people who don't really do dance. That's one of the things I've done a little of, and I love doing that.
What's the name of the artist doing the mural?
Ellen Griezedick.
And you are going to talk to Ellen about the first mural being a big smiley face? That's our work.
Yes. We'll get that. I got to put you guys together. You guys will have a long conversation.
Well, she certainly is a story we want to put right in A Dose of Hope for sure.
It's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Mimi and I briefly mentioned the other day that how awesome to do a mural Dose of Hope book where all those artists, their stories are in there that collectively tell the story of the bigger picture of that bigger mural that's being
literally bigger picture for this.
Literally. Yeah. Beautiful. And then Ken, based on time, I'm going to revert back to you so you can.
Okay. So a quote you live by, Mimi.
Quote I live.
Let me get it out of the book here. Just one second. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you have it? Could you look it up for me?
No, we'll put it in the notes. We have to exit out. But if you think of a quote, we'll add that later, or we'll just copy it from the book chapter.
Okay.
All right. Well, Mimi, it has been an honor to have you on the show. We have amplified your goodness, and you certainly are a leader that's inspiring so many, to include us. And the Keep Smiling movement is so much better because you're a part of it. So thank you very much.
Both so much for having me.
And we want to remind people that our charity of choice, of course, is the Keep Smiling movement, because we are on a mission to create a dose of hope through smiles. And you can donate at PayPal by going to thekeepsmilingmovement.com. And we're looking, as Ken said, for authors. If you have an inspiring story that you overcame a challenge to find your smile again and how you now create smiles in the world with your products, goods, or services, then we want to hear from you. And you can reach out to us again at thekeepsmilingmovement.com. And stay tuned, because we want more smile ambassadors in the world, because as we said, we're out to create 10 I don't remember how many Ken said, but I'm going to say let's go for 10 million, Ken. 10 million smiles in the world, because people research studies do show that energy from a smile transcends beyond you up to 3 people deep. And we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to have a little bit of love, of a smile that touches into their hearts and their lives. So with that, back to you, Ken.
All right, this is Ken Rochon, wishing you a great week. Stay amplified, and we'll see you next week. If you want to share your story, connect with us. We'd love to hear it.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of Amplified. Be sure to join Ken Rochon
again next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time and 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Influencers channel.
Now, go get your message heard.